Welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast. My name is Randall Richmond, and I'm the Director of Athletics here at Kent State University and a proud graduate of the NCAA Charles Wickham Leadership Institute. The Leadership Institute helped me refine who I was as a man well before focusing on who I was as an administrator. Within the program, I developed lifelong friendships, colleagues, and confidants who helped me discover my true purpose in this profession, which is to be a transformational leader that has a positive impact on people's lives well beyond sports. And as the great orator Big Sean often says, the energy you give is what you manifest. Peace.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown, and welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast, where we highlight executive and organizational leadership. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 1Q Leadership. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, and review 1Q wherever you listen to podcasts. Our guest today is Marcus Everett. Marcus is the Director of Compliance at Fresno State. Greetings, Marcus. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Good to be here.
Marcus, so I'm here at Fresno State. I've talked to a couple other people you work with, and I wanted to have you on because working in compliance, there is a wave of African Americans who are working in compliance over the last 10 to 15 years, right? I'd say maybe even 15 or 20 years ago, you didn't see a whole lot of African Americans in compliance, but you're one young professional in compliance, but has had some great experience. You spent time at Stetson there. You were the compliance coordinator. You were a graduate assistant over at Northern Illinois, working with Sean Fraser there and the compliance people down there. And a couple other experiences during your career, but specifically at Stetson, you mentioned to me that the last few months on the job, you were the compliance person. I guess somebody left. Talk a little bit about that experience.
For sure. So Stetson was my first full-time job, and that's the hardest one to get. But the opportunity presented itself, and I went down to Stetson for sure. And I had a really good supervisor there, a really good mentor there, Elise Paulson. I still keep in contact to this day. And when I first got there, she coached me up, taught me everything I knew. Just gave me that guidance that I needed to run that two-man shop. And because it was just me and her, 17 sports, and we grinded it out. So the last, I would say, like 9 months or so, she was presented an opportunity across campus where she could still stay within the community, but she would just be on the other side of athletics. And I had to pick up the pieces and run the show there. So it was difficult. There were some trying times. It's tough doing. From official visits to initial eligibility for literally everyone, all the student athletes who are coming onto your campus. So, it was a grind, but I'm appreciative for it, for sure.
I wonder about, in leadership, sometimes you're measured by how well you solve problems, right? Attack the challenges. Do you have an example? Sometimes compliance, you can't share things, but is there an example of something that was presented to you that, you're not long on the job, but you're running the shop on your own, and you got to be able to solve this problem that's in front of you? Talk to us a little about an example of that, if you can share any.
So I guess within compliance, you're always trying to find a new process or the easiest process, and just how can we work smarter, not harder, right? So there was a time where we were just trying to figure out a simple process like male practice players who could help out with our women's basketball program, right? And it's just like, how do we formalize this workflow? We got to get sports medicine involved. We got to get senior staff involved. We got to get facilities involved. We have all these moving pieces, but how do we consolidate that into just one simple workflow? And me coming from the age I came from, coming from NIU where everything was digitalized, just trying to consolidate within the recruiting software that we had, just let's just use what we got to make our lives easier, So that was one of the things I tried to do when I was at Stetson for the most part. When I got there, my job was to organize the office. So it's just like I knew where things were. I knew how processes could be easier. So we use those recruiting softwares to try to do that for sure.
Yeah, to help you organize, right?
Had to, because it's just like, like physical paperwork, nobody wants that on their desk, you know what I'm saying? So, if we're paying money for these recruiting services, let's not use them, I know there are older people in sports medicine. I know there are older people in senior staff, but hey, I can create you a login and I can send you an email, right? You know what I'm saying? You can check that, So it's just trying to get people on board and new processes and things like that. And the first thing that popped in my head was, that male practice player, like workflow. It's just like, I mean, I know we can do it, guys. You know what I'm saying? All we're doing is checks and balances here. So, and you know, with coaches, things are going to be last minute. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if we just find a person who can play and they're going to help our team practice, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get it done.
So to make sure I understand this correctly, you had a software that has a purpose for whatever it's to use for.
Correct.
A problem is presented to you, and you have to come up with a solution for the problem because you are the decision maker.
100%.
So you repurpose the software. Obviously, you still use it for what it's used for, but you figure out a way to use it to solve the problem that was presented.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, man, that's the signs of a good leader. I wonder about that now. You fast forward now. You're here at Fresno State, director of compliance. You have people reporting to you, which you didn't have at Stetson. Now Stetson non-scholarship, but that doesn't lessen the load of student athletes who need to be compliant to make sure everybody can play ball and participate in varsity sports, right? So you come to Fresno State, got a couple of people working for you. You know, you sit down and you introduce yourself. It's almost like I'm the new boss. Teach me how things go around here, or did you say, here's how I like things to go? Tell us about that transition into a supervisory role.
It was a good one. I mean, that was crazy. So essentially, like, I mean, first 90 days on the job, right? Or even the first week on the job, I wanted to sit down and just learn for a second. You know, I didn't, me coming in, I didn't want to like step on anybody's toes or interrupt any processes that were here until I evaluated those, you know? So, learned that at Stetson, right? Come in, look around, see what needs to be fixed, see where you can help. So first few months, just got to learn the coordinators who were here, Marlene and Serena, and then just sat down with them. The first meeting we had is just like, what are your goals? Give me your top 3 goals for this academic year. So learned about them through that meeting and those conversations. But as we came in, we got to work more closely together. Our work environment became extremely cohesive, you know, where I could offer like, hey, Marlena, maybe we can do this. Hey, Serena, I know we got this process, but how about we reach out this way? Or since they're both liaisons for across campus as well. So just coming in, sitting back, learning from them first before attacking any processes or their knowledge about a certain bylaw here or there, I think was extremely beneficial for our relationship for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. What I know about compliance is that you have to make sure that everybody is educated and there's proof that everybody is educated, right? It's an interesting dynamic there. We had this many sessions. This is who was at the sessions. So we did teach and we did make sure everybody was in the know about everything. So being knowledgeable about the inner workings of college athletics, being knowledgeable about the inner workings of higher education and the inner workings of your department specifically. Talk to us a little bit about how important that is, to be knowledgeable when you work in compliance or when you work in athletics in general, but also to be able to make sure those around you and those in the department, including student athletes, are knowledgeable about what they can and can't do or what is important as they're a student athlete or in college athletics.
For sure. I mean, like education is key, right? Within compliance, I mean, the more you can educate our constituents, our student athletes, our boosters, our coaches, the more knowledge they have, the better decisions they make, right? So, I often say compliance is easy because everything's in the manual right there for you. All you gotta do is find it, right? I mean, there may be some gray areas here and there, you know what I'm saying, where we can work around. A coach sees this, I say we can't do that, but we can get to some middle ground where we both agree. But as much as I can get out in front of the coaches and teach them new legislation. So with COVID this past year, I mean, the COVID manual is updated weekly, right? So I mean, there's questions on literally everything, every bylaw that we can think of, and coaches just need that information to make the best decisions possible for sure. And that trickles down to your coordinators or to the people you're supervising, because like if they don't know what they're doing, you know what I'm saying, it's going to reflect badly on you. So it's just like, I mean, I love to give them the reins. They'll ask me questions. I'm here to be a resource 100%, you know, but I mean, just take the time to browse through the manual, browse through some inters, some ed columns before you approach me. Maybe have a solution. I mean, that'd be ideal for me, but you know, but yeah, I'm always here for a resource. But I mean, for them, it's imperative that you know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? When you're approaching to coaches, when you're approaching coaches and student athletes, because in this position, you got to be accurate. Got to be accurate.
So you're constantly learning, right? In order to
Always.
know what you're talking about, you have to continue to be learning in a changing environment, especially like college athletics. But in the world in general, I think that applies beyond compliance. Thinking about, you said when you came in, you sat down and talked to the people who you work with to understand where they're coming from, understand the department, understand how they like to think, help them make goals, and then also slowly but surely implement your own style and philosophy here at Fresno State as a director of compliance. When you think about leadership in general and being knowledgeable and being willing to learn, have you thought about your own philosophy of leadership, right? Now, how long have you been here at Fresno? It's been,
So I got here September 2019.
yeah, so it's been a year and a half, something like over a year and a half. And a lot of that was the pandemic, but you still were in your leadership role, right? First time in a leadership role. So you are developing a leadership philosophy. And when people report to you, you probably need to have that philosophy in place, right? But what you just said about being knowledgeable, talk to us a little about why that's important in leadership beyond just compliance.
Being knowledgeable within whatever your bylaw, whatever your field, whatever your passion is, I feel like that's going to translate to accountability. So, Marlena, you're our liaison for eligibility. You talk to our constituents across campus. I need you to know exactly what you're talking about because, like, I'm my management style is not to micromanage, right? So I have to trust in you. I have to believe that you're going to be accountable to hold them accountable. So sometime manage up, be able to complete your job, your task in a timely manner, do everything you need to do and hold that knowledge that you can do that and hold other people accountable. Same instance, financial aid. I mean, like our checks can't be late, right? Like, I mean, student athletes looking around, they have to pay their rent, but at the same time, we can't just give student athletes financial aid money if they're not enrolled in classes. So, Serena, I have to be able to hold you accountable that you know that specific bylaw and not just cut them checks, you know. And again, she's our liaison across campus. So, I mean, again, you got to hold the people that you work with accountable that they'll do their job as well. But in order to do that, you got to have the knowledge to do so and just be like, hey, the manual says this, I'm interpreting it this way, I need you to do this.
Right. So in your philosophy, what I think I'm pulling out is you have to be willing to learn in order to be knowledgeable, and you have to be knowledgeable in order to do your job, and you do your job, which makes you accountable. And those are all traits of leadership, right?
Correct.
I wonder if there's a step further, and I may be wrong about this, about you think back, sometimes we had professors or teachers that know a whole lot about a subject, but couldn't get the message across to us
Right.
as students. Is there an aspect of being able to relay the message, the knowledge, and help other people get to where you need them to be within your philosophy?
I believe so for sure. I mean, you got to be personable too. You got to be willing to be the teacher that that person needs. You know, I mean, this generation is a little bit different than the one I was raised in for sure. Maybe one you were raised in as well. You know, so I mean, maybe with our GA, you know, what I'm saying I can sit down and he's a visual learner. I can show him those steps. For our coordinators, I want them to be a bit more hands-on. So I need you to be able to do that research and come back to me and like let's discuss it instead of me showing you the process. You know, so no, I definitely, I mean, being able to tailor your leadership skills or being able to tailor your supervising role within the people within your department, I definitely think that's key for sure.
So being willing to learn leads to being knowledgeable about how to do your job, and doing your job leads to accountability in doing your role, and then also being able to relay and communicate what is necessary for people to be successful at whatever level they are at. Teach them where they need to be taught, right? I think those are excellent things in terms of leadership philosophy. And I'll wrap with this question. You recently made a hire here, right? And this is probably your first time hiring a full-time person. You know, I've asked the AD before, do you get excited when you have to make a hire, right? You know, you never know what the reason why there is a transition. It could be good or bad. But then you got to come in and you're bringing in this new lifeblood to your program. Talk to us a little bit about your philosophy going into that hire and how you approached it. And now you got this person coming in.
Yeah, I mean, it is exciting. Yeah, it is extremely exciting because I knew at some point within this role I'd have to do it. You know, I mean, coordinators, they're here for a year, year and a half, 2 years max, you know, and then they're on to their next level as well. So I mean, it is definitely exciting. With Andrew, who we have coming in, I think he's gonna be a great fit. You know, for me, it's more so of, do you have that passion for athletics? You know, so if you can display that passion, I mean, what are your goals? Do you want to be around for a couple years? Like, do you see yourself as an AD, senior staff? Like, what's your path? You know, so work-life balance, in addition to like your culture within athletics. Do you want to be around? How hard you're going to work? Your willingness to learn? All of those factor in until what I was looking for in a candidate, for sure. You know, so it was it was a great conversation. I mean, we talked for about a good hour, just like off the cuff. You know, it's just like, I mean, like, just tell me, you just graduated law school, so like, what's your plans? You know, I mean, I know you're playing golf right now, you know, which is great. I wish I was out there with you, but I mean, like, yo, like, what do you see yourself doing within the next 2 years? So what are your 2 year, what are your 5 year goals? And then, I mean, his answers were just, I mean, they resonated with mine because I came up within the era where things weren't just given to me, they were earned. So, and I just kind of got that vibe with him as well. So it was really exciting to just like talk with him. And then when we get him here, I mean, I just think everything's going to mesh. He's going to be willing to learn, and we're definitely going to be on a good foot for sure.
Right, willing to learn.
That's
Said
it.
he's
I mean,
going to be
that's what I need.
knowledgeable. He's going to
I
do his
need
job
it.
and be accountable, right?
Correct. Because as soon as you get here, we're learning. And at that point, you're going to be your own man who has to manage your cross campus constituents, you know, and I'm going to hold you accountable. If you need help, I'm here. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to be your voice if you need one, you know, in addition to my other responsibilities. But you know, I'll coach you up as much as you need to. But once we're there, we're there. Okay. You got to fly at some point. You know, I got to let you go.
Right, which is interesting, right? He's coming in, you make sure he's willing to learn, that he's knowledgeable, right? And since he's knowledgeable, he'll be accountable in the job he does. And part of his job is to be able to effectively communicate what's necessary to be communicated. That's excellent, Marcus. This has been an excellent conversation. I really appreciate you joining us here on One Question.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
That was Marcus Everett. He is the Director of Compliance at Fresno State. And of course, this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today.
This episode of the One Question Leadership Podcast is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.